Good day, everyone. Today's video is on Tom Paris from Star Trek Voyager. I personally really enjoyed this character on Voyager. Consider subscribing to the channel if you like these videos. But now, let's get into it. Number 1. Thomas Eugene Paris was the son of a Starfleet Admiral Owen Paris. Growing up, Paris often felt inadequate due to the pressure his father put on him to excel and feeling like a failure as a result. The alienation continued throughout his adulthood to the point where Tom would just ignore his father altogether, tuning him out to what he referred to as yet another holiday sermon about the Prime Directive. Throughout Tom's life and career at Starfleet, his father remained tough and remote, telling him, for instance, that crying was a sign of weakness. Crying, incidentally, was the one thing Tom recalled doing the most as a teenager. Number 2. Paris had a desire for adventure while growing up, feeling he had to climb the largest tree and scale the tallest cliffs. As a buff of early human missions into space, he also memorized the recording from Friendship 1 probe and built a model of it as a young boy. While he considered most of his early family to be rather ordinary people, referring to them as salt of the earth type people, with some farmers and colonists, he held great respect for one of his ancestors, a pilot who flew the first orbital glider over the lower Martian plateau. Tom himself had a passion for piloting also, which he really discovered at the age of 8, when his father took him to a trip in an S-class shuttle. When he was 16 years old, Tom took his father's shuttle out for a joyride, ending up frying all the relays and landing at the bottom of Lake Tahoe, where it sat for years to come. Number 3. Despite this, Tom's first love was the sea. He was obsessed with stories about the ocean. Due to this love, Tom had planned to join the Federation Naval Patrol after high school. However, his father had other plans for him and did not understand his son's passion. As far as he was concerned, the only ship Tom was ever going to serve on had to have a Starfleet insignia on it. Eventually, Tom applied to Starfleet Academy. Number 4. During his first year at the Academy, Paris fell in love for the first time with a girl named Susie Crabtree. When she broke off the relationship, he broke out in hives, unable to get out of bed for weeks, and almost failed stellar cartography. He spent much of the year in a daze, and even years later he thought of her from time to time, never really being able to completely forget her. During his second semester at the Academy in 2360s, Paris chose Marseille, France, as the site of his physical training. There, he frequented a bistro called Sandrine's, where he once met a girl by the name of Ricky. Advanced subspace geometry was the only class at the Academy in which he actually paid attention to. He did hone his natural aptitude for piloting skills on craft large and small, and he proved adept at hollow engineering. He once told Neelix that his father was the instructor of his course in survival strategies, and that he gave Tom a mere B-. Paris managed to graduate from Starfleet Academy after a stormy 4 years with a major in astrophysics. Number 5. Upon graduating from the Academy, Paris was assigned to the USS Exeter. His career in Starfleet was short-lived, however, and ended after he was involved in covering up a pilot error which had led to the death of 3 fellow officers at Celtic Prime. Despite later telling the truth, he was discharged from Starfleet following the incident. He once sarcastically remarked that the ghosts of those 3 dead officers came to me in the middle of the night and taught me the true meaning of Christmas, when he was asked why he had finally confessed. Number 6. After being expelled from Starfleet, Paris wandered around looking for a fight, and found it as working as a mercenary for the Maquis. He was with them for a few weeks before he was captured on his first mission, convicted of treason, and sentenced to 18 months imprisonment at the Federation Penal Settlement in New Zealand. While he was serving time at a Federation penal colony for his involvement with the Maquis, Paris received a visit from Captain Catherine Janeway, who had served her first post out of the Academy under Owen, when he was captain of the USS Al-Batani. He gave him the opportunity to redeem himself, as well as be paroled by participating in the mission. His assignment was to help track down the Maquis ship Valjean, which had disappeared in the Badlands with Janeway's security officer Tuvok, who had been undercover. After some initial hesitation, Paris decided to take this opportunity and join Captain Janeway on Voyager. He was very cynical when he asked to join. He couldn't care less about the crew of that ship and only agreed to be brought on board as a Starfleet observer after being assured that, when it was over, he would be cut loose and Janeway would give him a favorable report at his next review. Number 7. Despite rather shaky beginnings and a crew that wondered whether he could be trusted when things got tough, Paris was nonetheless able to gradually redeem himself in the eyes of many. On Ocampa, he saved Chakotay's life, resulting in Chakotay greatly changing his sentiments towards Paris and beginning to respect him. In addition to saving Chakotay's life, he also helped rescue B'Elanna Torres and Harry Kim, who had been underground in the Ocampa city, and he struck a meaningful friendship with Shy Harry Kim, who had just graduated from the Academy and was on his first deep space assignment. During a battle between Voyager and the Kazon Ogla starship, Janeway posted Paris to the con. After the Caretaker's array was destroyed, Paris was officially designated as Flight Control Officer, with his Starfleet rank of Lieutenant Junior grade reinstated. He was assigned the additional job of field medic for the Doctor, when an assessment for medical replacements was brought forth, as Paris had taken 2 semesters of biochemistry at the Academy. Number 8. Among all his relationships with the crew, Tom had developed a especially close relationship with young Harry Kim. Their friendship was put to the test when they were accused of terrorist activities they did not commit, and were held at the Actarian Maximum Security Detention Facility, more than 300 meters underground. There, they were controlled by a neural implant called the clamp, which induced paranoia and violence. Even though Captain Janeway was able to prove their innocence, the authorities refused to release them. The 2 men suffered horribly in the prison, and the stress of the prison and the neural implants did take its toll on both of them. When Paris once suffered from delirium, dismantled a tool Kim was going to use for an escape attempt, Kim, enraged at what Paris had done, lost control and almost killed him. Kim was able to stop himself at the last minute, but realized he had gone too far. The 2 men fought for each other, however, and Kim nursed Paris back to health after he was stabbed by another inmate. This incident marked an important step in their friendship, as Tom realized the kind of friend he had found in Harry, who not only saved his life, but also stood by him at his worst. Number 9. In 2375, Paris had heavily lobbied for and finally built the Delta Flyer, a shuttle of its own design intended to be used in the increasingly hostile Delta Quadrant. Paris married B'Elanna Torres during the first running of the Antarian Transstellar Rally, proposing as the shuttle came close to suffering a warp core breach. Its destruction was averted after the warp core was ejected into a Class J nebula containing the antimatter explosion. The 2 of them used the Delta Flyer for their honeymoon. During a final battle with the Borg, which enabled Voyager to return home, Paris's first child was born, a girl named Meryl. Although he was unable to present at her birth, as he was needed as Voyager's helm while the ship was trying to get back home, he was contacted by the Doctor, who told him, "There's someone down here who would like to say hello." Number 10. Tom Paris had a variety of interests, but many of them focused on 20th century North American culture, specifically the latter half of the century's pop culture. However, his knowledge of general history was slightly more limited. He also possessed considerable knowledge of the early Mars projects, from the first missions of the 1970s to the first colony. Additionally, Paris was fond of playing practical jokes, particularly on Tuvok. For example, he once reprogrammed in a variety of ways a holographic Vulcan monastery that Tuvok used, such as dressing one of the central figures in sleepwear and changing the chants to Ferengi chants about profit. He even once reprogrammed all of systems Tuvok interacted with to say, "Live long and prosper," whenever he used them. In addition to these interests, he liked dogs and once told Janeway that he's always had a dog. I do hope you liked this video. Tom Paris was a really awesome character and I really enjoyed his jokes on the crew a lot. So what did you think about Tom? Let me know in the comments. Take care and have a great day.